It's the best and worst of last gen, reminiscing about the last generation of consoles as we move into the new one. Best. More serious, more complex games that took the subject matter seriously, treated the player as an adult and someone who could handle a mature subject matter, and overall, games finally being treated as art. More so than any previous console generation, this last one really challenged everyone when it came to the quality and the complexity and the maturity level of a lot of the games that were released. Just take a look at games like Heavy Rain and the interactivity and the emotional struggle of things that happen in the game. Will you actually mutilate yourself to save your child? What happens if you make the wrong decision and one of the main characters of the game dies permanently? You have really serious moral issues dealt with in games like BioShock and The Last of Us, and just crazy moral dilemmas. Will you kill to survive, or do you feel that that's wrong and you should try to remain human because that's what humanity is? There were just so many games that took it to the next level, and I have to say, it's not just about the story. It definitely has to do with the graphics and those things that advance to the next level. Being able to see characters that were photorealistic for the very first time were a huge asset in pushing us into this more mature era where, yes, you would still have your kiddie games or whatever, but you would have a series of games that could be taken seriously, could rival the stories, the budget, the production values of some of the biggest blockbuster movies of the time, and finally say that yes, video games are indeed an art form and not just kind of a little kiddie derision kind of a deal. So really awesome. Hoping to see way more games being taken to the next level and taking this kind of subject matter seriously, treating the gamers as mature adults in the next generation of consoles as well. Worst. Console and game development studios' overwhelmingly ridiculous focus on the motion control gimmick. The thing that really overwhelmingly gets me when it comes to this whole fad of motion control that happened with the last generation of consoles is that it happens with almost every generation of consoles. Don't you remember all those gimmicky peripherals from back in the day? The power pad you used to put on the floor and dance on? Remember the dance pads they had for games like Dance Dance Revolution? Every generation has this gimmick, and it always fizzles out, yet they always seem to bring it back. With the Microsoft 360, with the Microsoft Xbox 360, you had the stupid Kinect, a camera that only functioned in giant living rooms and barely worked for any of the games that it was trying to be implemented in. With the PlayStation 3, you had the completely superfluous PlayStation Move controller, in addition with the PlayStation Eye peripheral, which most games did not implement, and Sony actually forced certain game studios, such as Quantic Dream, to create PlayStation Move compatible versions of their games against their will. And of course, you've got the one that started it all, the overwhelming geniuses over at Nintendo, who with the Nintendo Wii, completely by random luck and chance, stumbled upon the fact that there was a market of people out there who would play video games if there was some kind of a stupid, fun, athletic gimmick to it. So they added this new Wiimote controller, a new motion sensor, and showed that a lot of games didn't need to be controlled traditionally. You could wave your arms around like an effing fool in order to control the game. But hardcore gamers, i.e. people who play games for more than 30 minutes a day, immediately started complaining. Gee, this is tiring. Gee, you can't really play a mainstream game like Zelda or Mario with full motion controls because it is far too tiring. And a game like Zelda that's 15 hours long to be waving your arms around constantly? It doesn't make sense. You get sore. Wait, why are all the games that are coming out for this system little kiddie-oriented games? And unfortunately, this is what happened. Nintendo stumbled upon this crazy fad, but it wasn't for the core audience of gaming consoles. It was for this completely periphery audience, this niche audience of people who hadn't been playing video games, and this waving your arms around like an idiot was the way to hook them into it. But the problem was, these were casual gamers. They only played games for 30 minutes a day, and after a while they got bored of it and stopped buying them. So eventually what happened is that Nintendo saw a huge surge in sales of the Wii, and then it slowly fizzled to nothing as people realized there's no longevity in this, it's just a stupid gimmick. Why on earth Microsoft and PlayStation followed along in the footsteps of Nintendo, and why to this day Microsoft is still trying to force motion controls down our throats with the Kinect 2 is beyond my logical fucking comprehension. If they know what they're doing, if they know what the purpose of gaming is, it's to play good games, not to move, not to burn calories, not to fucking watch TV, not to fucking wipe your ass when you take a shit, to play good games. If they would just focus on that, it would be great. Again, one of the best things about this last generation was the games that were taken seriously and an adult-oriented nature. Games as art. It's like the complete opposite of that, to make games so stupid and dumbed down and kiddie that you just wave around like a fucking idiot, or you dance in your living room floor to control it. No one had a problem with regular controllers besides the console developers, and that's the bottom line. So hopefully this motion control thing will die out. It already has died out for Nintendo. Doesn't look like Sony's going that route in the next generation either. Unfortunately, Microsoft's going to take a little bit more convincing, but motion controls were such a waste of fucking time in the last console generation. I'm glad it's over. Well, phew. I am glad that is over. Whoa, that was a pretty interesting countdown. It's the very first time where I've done a reminiscent countdown like that, where I think back on the past rather than kind of looking forward to the future. So I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that, I did as good of a job as I could with my crappy video editor. And here's hoping that the next generation of consoles will be bigger and better in the long run than this last gen, and that we will all have a great, awesome, unique experience awaiting us in the future. So thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you later.